Good afternoon, collectors, and welcome to Leighton's Loft. You can find us here every Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for joining us. A lot going on in the card world, certainly a lot going on in the sports world with the stoppage of baseball. But let's talk about what is right in front of us, and that is this weekend. We are going to be at the Philly show. If you want to find out all the details about the show, and I think they're going to have maybe even 24 autographed guests, check it out at phillyshow.com. Our booth location is the same each and every show. We have two nice booths with big buying sign, and we're right back by the autograph area. However, you can see us from the front of the room, so please stop on by and say hi to us. The team will be there all weekend. We'll be breaking. And, Lou, we just firmed up the details. We have not one, but two exciting guests joining us this weekend.
Ooh.
So
excellent.
We're going to be doing a break with, and he's very controversial, and I hope he brings the heat on Saturday. Not just, of course, he brought it, on the mound, but none other than Hall of Famer Goose will be joining us at 10 a.m. on Saturday morning. And just because we can talk about it on this show, and we'll see how Goose is on Saturday. So two of my very good friends from really grade school, they have like their birthdays similar times. So as we get older, it's like an excuse to celebrate. So they're throwing a little party on Saturday, and you have about 50 people, which is kind of fun. Karaoke, alcohol, how that goes.
Yep.
So anyway, my buddy requested a special birthday gift. He would like to have a personalized Goose ball, and he grew up a Yankee fan. He's my age, similar to my age. He wants it to say F. Cashman. He wants it to actually say the, spelled out, but he said if he's uncomfortable with it, he'll take F. Cashman, Goose Gossage Hall of Fame. So do you think he's going to do it? I mean, I don't see why he wouldn't.
Goose will do it.
Pretty outspoken.
Oh, yeah. My money's on Goose doing it. No problem.
Yeah.
I think you could get him to come to the party and sing karaoke, as a matter of fact.
I got to tell you, if he knew it was being served, I saw, because I was over at my buddy's house with Cross the other night for dinner, and I saw the menu, and then I saw the food menu, the drinks is open bar, and then I saw the list of songs for karaoke, and my buddy was jamming on the guitar. We're having a good old time this past Sunday, so I think Goose would have a good time.
What's your karaoke song? What are you going to sing?
Well, the thing is like in terms of ease, I definitely know like so many Tom Petty songs, just like off the top of my head.
Yep.
That, I could do Tom Petty. I don't want to do any songs that have like high notes, or anything like that. That's not going to happen for me. But let's be honest, I'm taking an Uber to and from. So there's going to be alcohol involved and good music. So maybe I'm going to be singing Don't Stop Believing by the end of the night. I don't know.
Okay.
But this will not be on video. No video.
We're gonna
There's
need
no
video
cameras. No cameras, no video, no phones allowed during this, Lou. You have to check it out.
Journey's touring, and they're looking for a front man. So,
I'd rather be the Jets back at quarterback.
Oh my God, I was thinking of you today. This is totally off base, but I'm walking into the grocery store this morning to pick up some things, and there's a guy walking out with this old time hockey jersey, right? And I noticed him because he had a toque on, he had a stocking cap on, he had this old hockey jersey on. And I just noticed him and I nodded to him and said hi. And I came out afterwards because I was only in for a couple minutes. And his car had a Hartford Whaleless sticker on the back and Jet stickers. This guy was a Hartford Whaleless fan and a Jets fan.
Oh, you should have taken a picture. You should have taken a picture. I would have posted about that. That's nice.
And it's like I didn't have time to stop and listen, but he had his car closed and it was running. And the volume on the music was like through the roof. I mean, this guy, it's like I want to have a beer with this guy. Where do you even find a Hartford Whalers sticker these days?
Well, I'll tell you what. I've seen this at card shows. I learned this from Josh Evans, may he rest in peace. So people walk around at card shows or even like sporting events, live games, and obviously pre-COVID really. But nonetheless, I would see people walking around and I would watch Josh do this. What's up, Ken? He would say, hey, buddy, nice jersey. And the guy would, be like a little bit of a, like a recluse, doesn't really. He's like, oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Josh is like, no, nice jersey. Like, where's it from? And some people wouldn't answer. And ultimately, I saw him buy at least one jersey like this. But he's like, guy, like that jersey's worth a lot of money. That's a really good jersey because
Mm,
some people who just wear like an old hockey jersey they found at a thrift store. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
right.
And some old hockey jerseys, just based on style alone, can be worth thousands of dollars.
Oh, really? There's a
Yeah,
collectible
it doesn't.
market for that?
Yes, doesn't have to just be a rare. Excuse me, it doesn't have to just be a good player. It could be like a defunct WHA team or an early NHL team that just it's tough to find a jersey from. And those kinds of things. It's possible to slip through and get at a thrift store.
Oh, I was such a huge fan of the New England Whalers when they were up here in Boston those first couple of years. I think I've told you I was at the first WHA championship game when the Whalers won it, and I put a
That's
pizza
cool.
stain on. I put a pizza stain on Bobby Hull's jersey at the Garden. That was actually turning away from
That's
getting my
awesome.
pizza. I ran into Bobby Hull as they were going back on the ice for the next period. So,
Oh, you got to put that on Leighton's Loft. That's like a
oh,
nugget of a story that
oh
people need to
God,
know, Lou.
yeah.
Please, no, please. That's
And
great.
by the way, those guys are huge. Even back then, they were huge. It's like I may have hit him on the waist. I think with the pizza as it came back. Of course, they're on
Yeah,
skate, but yeah,
I'm sure he didn't feel it, Lou.
no,
So anyway, if you want to see something, not only is it going to be entertaining, but frankly, I think it's going to be controversial. I have no idea what Goose is going to say, and I'm not going to try to corral him.
no.
So if you can show up on Saturday morning, we're going to do a break with him. By the way, spots are now available in that break. You can find it on our website. We're going to break an NT baseball box with him. We're also going to give away his rookie card in PSA 8, some signed baseballs we'll sign live on air. Spots are $19.50, but Lou, we're going to give away 5 spots today at
Ooh,
the end of our
nice.
show in the Goose Gossage break. So to start our Vintage Break stream, and courtesy, of course, of Vintage Breaks, Just Collected, Otia Sports, we'll give away 5 free spots in the Goose Gossage breaks. All you have to do is to be tuned in towards the end of the show today and at the beginning of our Vintage Breaks stream at about 2 o'clock this afternoon.
Yeah. So if you're on the full screen now and your comments are showing up, you're going to have to flip over to the break after we go off the air on Leighton's Loft. So just make sure you do that so you can qualify and win one of these spots. I think you'll get Goose really relaxed really early, and then Goose will let it go. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I just figured, I'll have a coffee and a water rating for him just in case, like he wasn't able to get that if he was on a bender the night before. What's up, Nick? But yeah, I'm pretty good with these guys. I enjoy it, right? I'm not trying to get anything out of them other than to have fun, make them feel comfortable, and, candidly hope you pull a player or two that, like, just for some reason or another, and with Goose especially, just drives them wild,
Yeah.
and love to hear what he has to say. But, as far as, the baseball work stoppage, I realize if I bring it up, he's going to be, just going nuts. So I might
Yeah.
save that for the end. But I'd like to talk about that briefly today. I mean, the world, like Crosby doesn't even know who Rob Manfred was a week ago, and he hates him now.
Yeah.
So
With
I've
good
never
reason.
seen a guy fall. I've never seen a guy fall from grace. So Lou, I feel like you're a little bit more in tune to the specifics of what's going on. Of course, I know what's going on. Most regular baseball fans kind of know what's going on with the work stoppage, but kind of give everyone in a nutshell not only what's going on, but why is everyone specifically mad at Manfred?
Well, I think, first of all, when you get into a TV series or you get into a movie and you have this instinctual idea of what the outcome is of the movie, how you think it's going to go. And then at certain points in the movie, you get pulled away from it and you're thinking, well, that may not happen. This may actually work out. And then it ends up being exactly what you thought it was. And I think that's the case here with the work stoppage. I think the owners had a May 1st date in their mind. They were willing to give up all of April. And if that's what was needed to pressure the players to stop the paychecks, that's what they were going to do. I think that's been the plan from the beginning. I think it's still the plan. I think the owners will start to panic after May 1st, but I think they're very comfortable with losing April here. And I don't know how they're going to swing this at this point in terms of getting ready for a May 1st start, because to get ready for a May 1st start, you have to have an agreement by April 1st. They need a month to get ready. Even though the players are working out, they need a month to get ready. I think everyone hates Manfred because it's obvious that Manfred's only job is to win this contract battle with the CBA. That's all he cares about. He doesn't care about the game. He's a hired gun by the owners, and that makes the owners look bad because the owners can't stand up and do it themselves. They have to put this guy in front to take the heat. And I wouldn't be surprised if after the CBA, Manfred moves on within a year or two with a nice little paycheck. Just, hey, thanks for the CBA. You did a great job. And I think that's become totally obvious at this point that Manfred is just a hired gun for this CBA negotiation, and it's costing us baseball, and we don't like it.
And thus, now it makes a little bit more sense to me why Manfred's being singled out as, because people are kind of making him be the scapegoat. But no, he really is just a hired gun. He likely will move on, as you're saying, Lou. I think you're right. He will move on probably sooner rather than later. And I think you've also nailed it. I think that the owners are smart. They can afford the loss of April. And it does put pressure on the baseball, on players themselves, because all of a sudden April could be another month. That could be May. And then, it starts to become real money for the players. And not to say it's not real money for the owners, but the owners can outlast them in the poker tournament of negotiations.
Yeah, I had to laugh because the contingency, if I read this correctly, the contingency plan for the players was they had a war chest to put together. They were going to give them $5,000 for spring training, which is basically March and February. And it's like $5,000 is pocket change to a lot of these guys. I don't know how much help that's going to be. I don't know how much they have in the war chest to help players go through the month of April. That's going to be a significant loss for some of these guys. And it's, what they're trying to do is they're trying to break the union like they always do. They're trying to get the union to back off their solidarity as the players start to feel the pain of losing these paychecks.
Well, hopefully baseball will come back, sooner rather than later. Certainly no telling, but I read a really, unsettling article. I think it might have been on the Post, in regards to, and listen, all sports suffer this, whether it be on the precipice of a strike, Lou, or when the actual strike begins. And that is the sport's going to be hurt, irreparably. They're not going to be able to come back from it. And I do think that baseball's in a very precarious spot this time because there's other emerging, not just sports, there's just other emerging interests for, 7 to 37-year-olds. And I think it's a little bit harder for them, as each decade passes. Like, you can't count on my dad to be around forever to be liking baseball. So it's even though it's a slow moving, death, if that continues to play out, and I think it is, I don't think baseball is going to go away, but I think there's a lot less interest than there used to be, at least in America, in regards to in the game of baseball.
James has a great point here because the USFL could end up being a big hit here for Major League Baseball if you give them the attention. USFL's got to be loving this if it goes into their season and allows, even at the beginning of the season, for people to get involved in that a little bit. I think the USFL is kind of underrated. It's tied in with the NFL. Of course, the Rock is running it, and I think they're going to make a legitimate run at it this time. And people like football. They just like football, and they'll take some football in the spring as well. Baseball's saving grace right now, as it was several years ago, is the fantasy game, and then DFS when there's money involved, and then now legalized gambling throughout the country. That's what people are going to be betting on during the course of the summer. I think that's why we tend to get a little panicky about the demographic and about the audience for baseball, because
good point.
I think there are a lot of young people in the sport because of DFS and because of gambling. And I think baseball is going to bring in more of that as they go. The television contracts power the game, and the television contracts are still pretty good and will hold up because, listen, Major League Baseball isn't the NFL, but no one else is putting 11 million people in front of a game at this point. They're a distant second to the NFL, but they're a second here, and they still draw people, especially for the postseason, which is where they're going to make their money, which is why the owners wanted an expanded postseason. Television contracts are going to be solid because baseball will deliver a good audience, not an NFL audience, and maybe the NBA can compete on some major games. And I'm not even sure on the finals. I'm not even sure what their television numbers are. But who competes with Major League Baseball other than the NFL for television numbers?
Yeah, no, the NBA. I don't think the NBA regular season numbers are that great. I don't think they are. Yeah. Could be wrong.
I'm not even sure. Well, I'd have to check. I'm just speaking without even looking into it. But I'm not even sure the finals and the playoffs are all that great. I mean, from the standpoint of Major League Baseball, because the NFL, the NHL, and the NBA have certain demographics and certain audiences. They're not universal, but baseball, everyone likes baseball. Everyone likes football. Or most everybody.
Yeah, well, I think that we all have our fingers crossed. Let's hope that baseball gets back sooner rather than later. I did want to mention a few things in regards to the Philly show this weekend. So As I was talking about earlier, we will be set up all weekend as vintage breaks and just collect live from the show. We'll be breaking. Goose Gossage will join us Saturday morning at 10 a.m. for a special break, which is now available on our website. You can buy spots in it at vintagebreaks.com. If you're coming down to the show, please stop by our table and say hi. If you're coming down to the show, bring a little box, a bag, because even if you don't want to sell, bring some ammo to trade. Because if you find something that you really love and you just won't be able to swing it with your budget, well, all of a sudden a card or two that may be worth 500, a couple thousand, whatever the case may be, might become a little bit more expendable in your mind. So it's always nice. Like I didn't really put cards out in Atlanta, but I had a box of cards with me, just a small box, like 20 graded cards. Like, I don't know, what if, whatever, I ended up not putting any in the mount. I didn't really take it out either. But I just think that whether it be it's you're a collector or you're someone, like myself, and you're doing this professionally, it's always good to have a few extra cards with you. You never know what you're going to find. So, make sure you come to the show prepared. If you can, bring cash. I would tell you that was very popular at the Atlanta show last weekend. I didn't see any checks changing hands other than I wrote a couple. But people paying via PayPal was very popular at people's booths, much more so than I think I've seen in the past. And there's a lot of people that were walking up with, they weren't shy. They would have like a box, like one of those graded cards, those new fancy boxes. And they have anywhere from like 25 to 100 graded cards. And I feel like I saw a lot of cash and cards exchanging hands between said dealer and said consumer or customer. And I don't know, I don't ask questions, I don't butt in, but it just seemed like, you want to be prepared. So that way, if you just go with cash, which is fine, realize it's a little bit more difficult if you run out of cash and you have no more access to it. If you find like one of your big holy grails and it's well beyond the money you have with you, but what if you had a few cards to help with that cash that you would put towards it? So all that I think is important. This might just be for me, but been trying to eat better, and so I know with this show in particular, other than we go out to a nice dinner, like during the day, it's kind of difficult to eat there, meaning at the show. And so I just bring like a bunch of granola bars or beef jerky, some fruit. There's a Wegmans not that far from the place that I buy some stuff on the way down on Thursday night. So come prepared. But this is another exciting announcement for. It'll be Saturday at approximately 2:00. His public signing ends then. So we're not going to be doing a break with this individual. However, he is a very well-known basketball player.
Ooh. See, it comes to the point of the big announcement, and we get the call breaks in, lose audio for a couple seconds here. So now all the suspense is building. So let's guess here. It's going to be a Philly guy. Chances are it's going to be a Philly guy. Can't be. Yeah, Nick says Dr. J. That's what I was wondering too. I don't know. I think Leighton would be screaming that from the rooftops if it was Dr. J at this point. Philly basketball guy. Give us some guesses in here. Nick says Dr. J. I'm not sure, but it's got to be a fairly well-known name. So I don't know. Who would it be? I have to take a second to find out here. I'll show you the Philly show webpage at this point. Get you psyched up for that if you want to take a drive down. Harden. That's a good guess too. No, Harden's probably busy, and he doesn't strike me as a card show type of guy, right? Not a bad guess, James. All right, Leighton, you back?
I think so.
Yeah.
So, Lou, just out of curiosity, do you know when we do StreamYard and we broadcast from my phone, is there a way to prevent, in other words, is there a feature that when someone calls, it won't disturb a stream? Like, do you know anything about that?
Do you have an iPhone?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a do not disturb option on the iPhone.
Oh, I'll look for that.
That will block the calls. Unfortunately, as I found out on another show, if somebody calls back a second time, though, it lets it through. I think.
Really?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah,
isn't
we
it?
had something similar. Yeah. Huh. I'm not the big Mac or iPhone support guy, but there is a do not disturb on the iPhones that'll keep from calls from breaking in. I'm surprised with you. We don't get that more often, actually.
I'm very happy that it doesn't happen, too much, but I'm going to use the do not disturb because, like, especially if we're doing an athlete break or something impromptu from the show, it's like, Mom, I'll call you back later. And, my mom wants an answer right now. She's going to call back 4 times, Lou. She doesn't care.
Well, that would, yeah, that would be fine if it just blocked it and that, or you just dismissed it and that was it. But then the audio stays off for a couple seconds. So Nick said Dr. J. I was asking people to guess.
Well, to be clear here, I tried to get Dr. J, who's going to be there this weekend.
Yeah.
He not only wanted. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
So he not only wanted potentially more money than we could give him, but he had some strange requests. He's like, you have to give at least 1 limb. You have to give your next born. I'm like, Doc, come on. It's me. I'm another Doc,
Yeah.
And
you have to make fun of Larry Bird somehow. You gotta.
Yeah. So here's the thing.
Yeah.
I requested, if you will, a meeting. My request is denied. So we didn't even get the sit down. Now, it doesn't mean that if I see him at the convention, because I think he'll recognize me. An interesting fella, to say the least, in the space, and I've met him several times. But it is not Dr. J. I wish it was.
All right, however, James says Harden. I figure he's busy. He's not going to be doing the show.
He's not going to even be at the show. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Ken says AI. That's not a bad guess.
Well, I would listen. I've tried to get AI several times. And let me tell you, it would take several. What do they call it in rounders? 3 stacks of high society. It's 30 grand. So I think it's going to be at least 3 stacks of high society for Allen Iverson. And that's not happening.
Yeah, Ricky says Allen Iverson too. Okay, so who we got? Who's doing the show?
So former slam dunk participant, I believe former slam dunk winner, also competed against Michael Jordan.
Ooh.
And one of the shortest, I'll probably be giving it away right now, one of the shortest basketball players to ever play pro in the NBA.
You found a guy shorter than you to have on with you.
Hey,
that's what you were looking for, wasn't it?
I'm 6'1".
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I could have gone pro if every one of these guys was this height. So it is none other than, I'm very excited. And we're not going to be doing a break with him. We're just going to be talking hoops.
Yep.
But it is, and Brandon nailed it, it is none other than Spud Webb. Very excited.
Tyler says he loves a good Rounders reference.
Oh, man, I'm going to watch Rounders this weekend because it's been too long. But so here's the deal. If you know Rounders, who's your favorite character in the movie? And if you just tell me Matt Damon or Ed Norton, it's fine. You're not wrong. But it's pretty obvious. Those are the 2 main characters. My favorite character in Rounders, you know the movie, Lou? Oh, no. Did Lou freeze? Did we lose you, Lou? Testing. I'll assume that Lou will be back. So very much looking forward to the conversation, chat with Spud. We're not going to be doing a break with him, although I might, ask him if he'd like to open up. Okay, so we're going to reboot Lou. He'll be back. We're going to ask Spud if he'd like to open up a pack, talk about some of the players he competed against. But I would love to hear some 1980s NBA nuggets. Very excited about Saturday. So if you're going to be at the show one of the days, I think Saturday will be the best day just because we'll be live with Goose Gossage and Spud Webb. But we will be live all weekend with the crew. J5 is away on vacation on assignment in Hawaii. We all feel terrible for him. But it's going to be great. And Lou will join us in just a minute back here for the final few minutes of Leighton's Loft. Oh, sorry about that. Excuse me. So this weekend, we have the after party bonus promo ending for Vintage Breaks on Sunday at 3 o'clock, giving away a nice Jackie Robinson and some other fun prizes. And, also when we're at the show, you never know what we're going to be able to find on the show floor, what's going to walk up to us. So it's not just the breaking that makes being a show fun, but it's also the live activity at the show itself. So hopefully folks are going to come on down. And if you want to try to strike a deal with me before you come down, you can always email me, Leighton, LEIGHTON @justcollect.com anytime. Happy to try to do a trade or buy some stuff from you and have everything agreed upon before you come down. Oh, this is great. Here's I was looking for the comments. Yeah, so my son, we're getting the hoverboard today. Very excited about that. Yeah, so just because we didn't get down to my favorite. Oh, hey, what's up, Monty? Hope vacation was good if you're back. My favorite character in Rounders is Kanish. I don't know if we having some technical difficulties here. So I think what we'll do is it's about that time anyway. I'm sure I'll be in touch with Lou. We do appreciate you joining us here today on Leighton's Loft. You can find us every week at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube and Facebook. Please stay tuned for Vintage Breaks live stream. And then this evening, we'll have Vintage Breaks West with Sir Charles. Thanks, everybody.